Hello and welcome to this early school year episode of WELV Talk. I am your host, Alan Buckler, and joining me today we have a very special guest. We have Ashley Knox from Go Beyond Greatness. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you today?
Oh, I'm excited to be here at Ellenville High School.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Now, you're the founder and director of Go Beyond Greatness.
Yes.
And that's a program which is coming very soon, I think early October, if I'm not
Early
mistaken.
October is when we'll launch the program, yes.
So I guess first question you can tell our listeners out there is explain what is Go Beyond Greatness? What is the program?
Yeah, so Go Beyond Greatness, Inc. is an innovative education organization that supports young people with reaching their goals and to strive for success. The way we define Go Beyond Greatness, we are technically a college and career readiness program with a focus to support young people to create a positive pathway in their lives and really understand how the time that they're here as an adolescent is the period for them to truly start to think about who they are, what do they want to become, and how do they tap into the educational resources, their teachers and guidance counselors and community leaders all together in helping them to create an action plan so that they can be successful life after high school.
Mm-hmm. And this program has been around for a while.
Yes, we've been in establishment since about 5 years ago, I want to say. So 2014. We've been in existence, and the center is at 721 Media Center in Kingston, New York, where I'm actually from, born and raised in Ulster County.
You're Ulster County native, right?
Ulster County native,
Where'd
yes.
you go to high school?
Kingston High School,
Kingston,
yes.
Are they the Bears? What?
Tigers, rawr.
Excuse me. As you can tell, I'm not a Kingston native or an Ulster County native.
But I'm sure you love it here.
Oh, I love it here,
yes.
of course. I've worked here now for 10 years in Ulster County.
Wonderful.
So I'm not planning on going anywhere. I love it here.
I believe it. Ulster County, the place to be.
Right. And so this program we're talking about obviously is a Ellenville High School program. It's, as you mentioned, it focuses on adolescents just before they're leading up to finishing high school.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. So, so the program that we are partnering with Ellenville High School, it's called the Build Your Brand Project. And the program is in partnership with SUNY Ulster County Economic Development, as well as Ellenville School District, the high school itself. Mm-hmm. And it's under the Obama's initiative of the My Brother's Keeper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and that was going to be my next question, was to tell us a bit about how you ended up in Ellenville. I think it's related to Frank Mulhern and the Ellenville's Family and Community Engagement Program, which is also linked to My Brother's Keeper, I think. So
right,
go ahead if you want to first answer maybe what is My Brother's Keeper, to explain those who don't know, and explain how that's related to Go Beyond Greatness.
Right. So My Brother's Keeper is a New York State initiative that came from former President Obama. And the My Brother's Keeper, the focus was on looking at the educational achievement gap, particularly with students of color and male students of color, and addressing those issues and figuring out what's truly needed in order to close that achievement gap of students of color. So the My Brother's Keeper initiative, as you'll see, it's across New York State with many of the different school districts that we have here in New York. And the focus, again, is to provide male students of color with the proper educational resources that support them with high school graduation, mm-hmm. as well as helping them to create a positive pathway life after high school, whether it's vocational training, but I think there's also a main focus with helping them to become college ready, for them to succeed and get their degrees in terms of college, and so support them with the resources that they need when it comes to life success and being able to create a life for themselves with the educational background to support them with being able to find a great career life after high school.
Mm-hmm. So now how did My Brother's Keeper relate to Go Beyond Greatness?
Yeah, so My Brother's Keeper and how it relates to Go Beyond Greatness. For the past couple of years, we've been working with the Kingston City School District under the My Brother's Keeper initiative, with a focus in the Build Your Brand Project. And so Ellenville High School learned about our partnership with Kingston and SUNY Ulster, and from there, we decided to bring the Build Your Brand Project right here to the beautiful place of Ellenville.
Mm-hmm. And that's where Frank Mulhern comes in, I think?
Yes.
Because he, as I say, he heads up the Ellenville Central School District's family and community engagement program, which is also related to My Brother's Keeper, I believe.
Right, exactly. So he coordinates many of the different programs under the My Brother's Keeper. And Alan, I do also want to add, so when it comes to the type of students that are eligible for programming under the My Brother's Keeper, although the focus is on students of color and male students of color, under the educational platform with Ellenville High School, all activities are open to all students. And that's great because it creates a more of a diverse population for students to work together and collaborate together when it comes to building their brand, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a second.
In that case, tell me a bit about the Build Your Brand program that's going to be coming here. As you mentioned, the program's it's still the fine details are being fine-tuned as we speak, but the program's going to begin in a few weeks, right? In early October.
Right.
And go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you can about the program that's going to be coming here.
Right. And so the Build Your Brand project is a educational intensive that plays on the concept of personal branding. You'll see that concept more in the business atmosphere, I would say, where many people who are in certain type of careers and they're looking to either promote themselves or transition into a different platform within their job or their careers, this idea of branding or creating a professional reputation for yourself in a way that people can easily define you. And the purpose of that is to create new and more opportunities for your life success. So with Go Beyond Greatness, we just thought it'd be really, really cool to encourage students to build a personal brand, right? And so it's a fun, free, and exciting training that Ellenville High School will offer the students, again, starting early October. And the focus is to empower young people to create an identity for themselves, this idea of what do you want to be known for? And how do you take control over that now? And by building this brand or this personal brand for yourself, it would truly support you with being able to encourage your teachers, your guidance counselors, again, community leaders to come on board when it comes to you identifying your goals, and they'll want to support that young person with being able to achieve that goal. And so the idea of being able to empower our youth to take control over their life success, I think is very key, especially during these times where, the workforce field is extremely competitive. Going to college or even being able to be accepted into college, highly, highly competitive. And it doesn't mean that, I believe so much in competitiveness, but it is important for us to understand that life after high school, students are adults, and this idea that they have to learn how to promote themselves, be accountable, be confident in who they are, and be able to say that I've done my job as academically, and I have the brilliance, I have the smarts, and I have the talent, and I'm the ideal candidate for that position. Right. Many times the students don't have an opportunity to really think about themselves in terms of deep self-awareness and take time to build a student resume and practice that idea of being able to promote their skills and their talents. And as a teacher, I'm pretty sure we have amazing, brilliant young people. And so the Build Your Brand project is just one amazing program that helps students with a platform for deep self-awareness so that they can build up a reputation for themselves and be able to apply that in their everyday lives and help them become goal-oriented when it comes to getting ready for life after high school.
It's interesting the way it's described as a brand, but when I think of that, I think of things which can be thought of as a brand in terms of, if like I said, if you're going for a job interview or a college application, when someone is considering you, I was going to say they base it on 3 things, but you mentioned a resume is another. So there's 4 things I can think of which are part of my brand or a person's brand. One being a first impression or my impression on a one-to-one physical interpersonal relationship. That's part of my brand.
Right.
How I speak, how I dress, how I look. 2 would be whatever I leave them with or send ahead of time, like my resume.
Exactly.
Right? Something
yes.
I'm choosing to give them. But then there's 2 more things I thought of. One is if you Google my name, what do you get?
Oh, yes.
Right?
We're in the age of Google.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you're right. And that's something which I'm sure you might touch on is, if someone Googles you, what are they going to first see on your Instagram page, on your Facebook page if you have one, right? What are these? What's out there which is part of me and my brand? And the last one I thought of was references in terms of word of mouth spreads. People who know me will say, you know, this Alan guy, what's he like? What kind of a person is he?
Right.
And if I've been working on me and the positive things I want to get across and the hardworking things, then those things will be things that people know about. But obviously, if I'm not, they won't. So those are some things that came to mind when you mentioned part
Absolutely.
of a person's brand, right?
Right. And all of those components we tie into the Build Your Brand project. I love to ask students, you know, right when you think about what do you like on social media? And, you know, this is a question that you or I, you know, we probably didn't really have that challenge growing up. And it's amazing on, you know, how relevant social media is in terms of identity, in terms of reputation, even 10, 20 years later. We see a lot of, public figures that they have to be extremely mindful, not only of what they do in in-person interaction, but also what they send in emails, how they promote themselves on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and many of the others. And, when you think about how technology is one of the primary tools of communication for our young people, I think it's extremely important to truly help them understand the power that they have when they post, the power that they have after they post, that it's something that stays in the air forever, and it's something that you can't take down. And so being able to be conscious about that and make proper decisions on saying, if I post this, is it representational of my brand?
Right.
Does it represent what I truly want to be known for? And if it's not, then maybe it's not necessary for you to post that, and helping students to become proactive and better decision makers. All of those are benefits when it comes to taking this course called the Build Your Brand Project. So I think you touched upon much in the idea, again, when you talked about first impressions. Sometimes first impressions are last impressions. And so if we can take time to help our young people to develop their presentational skills, to me, I think that it would benefit them definitely in the long run, but also in the immediate. I know for me, and this was part of my inspiration of developing Go Beyond Greatness, but I had great opportunities as a young person. Interestingly, I created this personal brand as a teenager. My first job was working at the YWCA as the office assistant. I think I was the only teenager there, 14, and everyone else, were full-time employees. And understanding that, if a job or an agency was going to hire me, that I had the responsibility to make sure that in my everyday life, I had to make sure that I represented that organization. And I think, when we are able to help the young people build a brand and then connect them to jobs in the community, I think that helps them to really start to come into play, to say, okay, having a brand and having a good reputation, not only does it help me and support me in my everyday life, but at the same time, people start to get to know who I am, and people start to trust me. They know that I'm accountable. If they're looking for a young person with great talent, they may call me as the first person, because I've created this reputation of having such a healthy character that I could become, someone that's ideal, that people want to work with. And it's amazing on how we have so many trainings, just in our everyday work life as adults. And so being able to teach these type of skills at a young age helps them, helps them to become ahead of the game, once they become an adult.
Now, is the goal to include all high school levels, do you know, or is it just the later grades? Right.
So with this being the first launch of the Build Your Brand Project with Ellenville High School, also in partnership with SUNY Ulster, I need to mention, the program will be open to all grades from 9th to 12th,
Gotcha.
with a focused with 9th to 11th.
Okay.
Since 12th graders, they probably know exactly what they want to do, or at least I hope, in terms of, their last 10 months of their high school experience. What I also wanted to add is that this year, we're going to implement a particular focus around sustainability. And so the idea of teaching students on the future of green jobs, Ulster County Mike Hines has stated that, his goal for the county is to support Ulster County in a way that we become more sustainable. And in relationship to our workforce in Ulster County, what that means is that jobs that are readily available now, or 10 15 years ago may not be readily available in the future. And what we're seeing is that there's a shift in the required skill level around green jobs. And so in addition to students taking the Build Your Brand project, we're working with SUNY Ulster and a number of organizations and businesses throughout Ulster County that foster sustainability with two focuses in terms of the job readiness: environmental green jobs, as well as the technology industry. Mm-hmm. So looking at some of the new academic majors like cybersecurity, digital marketing, 3D imaging, and providing that type of knowledge for the high school students. The reason for that is so that, number one, they can stay connected to what's going on right here in their community of Ulster County. Number two, it encourages them to think about, when it comes to future jobs and career exploration, do you find yourself, does your heart sing when you think about protecting your environment? I think social justice within the environmental sector is becoming a lot more prevalent than ever right now. And, we're going to need youth of today to really think about how they can invest their academic future in these type of fields. Why? Because they'll be the decision makers of tomorrow. And so making sure that they're a part of this dialogue with the rapid growth that's happening in Ulster County is quite important. So I'm really excited with the partnership of Ulster County Economic Development as well as SUNY Ulster. Some of the courses will actually be at SUNY Ulster. So they'll take a tour and they'll also learn about some of Ulster's amazing programs in environmental science as well as their computer science and technology field.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. I had a question. How did you touched on a little bit about how you came to be involved and why you chose to, but just elaborate. How did you are the founder and director of Go Beyond Greatness.
That's me.
So what led to you becoming this? This is your thing now, right? This is your brand, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
so
yes.
How did you end up doing this?
My background, in terms of career-wise, I spent many, many years working with school districts and colleges. I think I probably worked for almost every college in the Mid-Hudson Valley. Absolutely. And with a focus in student success, college preparation and student success. Mm-hmm. And as a college administrator and also someone who has such a passion for advanced youth development, what I noticed that's lacking is that students, particularly those that come from that are from first generational backgrounds, students that are from marginalized backgrounds, such as students of color, those outside the U.S., so recent immigrants coming in, they may not have the same foundation as what I would say our mainstream students have. And because of that, I realized that students need a support system that helps them to think about their everyday life and what are the opportunities that they can actually participate in that's going to help their growth. Many times, I hear students say a lot of times, what do you want to do with your life? I don't know.
So
and
this class helps them think about that.
Absolutely.
In a bit more of a focused group, right?
Right. And so what I realize is that, young people, they truly need to take time to develop their deep self-awareness and build up their leadership skills and have the opportunity to participate in being a leader in school, but also in the community, because giving young people that opportunity to show up in their leadership really supports their confidence, their self-motivation to achieve. And then lastly, they have the practice so that when they do graduate and they become adults, there's no question about their success because they'll be able to reflect and think about all the wonderful contributions that they've made, not only for themselves, but to their community. And when you think about, transformational leadership, and we see this, on the platform of a lot of, business trainings and conferences, transformational leadership, that's exactly what we need to start building in our young people, to be able to do good work, but do good work not only that benefits self, but that benefits the world.
If people want to go online to find a bit more about the program in general, they can go to where to find things about Go Beyond Greatness?
Sure. Okay. So like us on our Facebook page. We're Go Beyond Greatness, Inc. Go Beyond Greatness Inc. So like us on Facebook. If you have Instagram, we are Go_Beyond Greatness, and that's Go_Beyond Greatness. We also have a YouTube page, and for families that are interested to have their child participate this year with Ellenville High School, then my suggestion is that they contact the school directly with Frank.
Yeah, and I can tell people the email for Frank Mulhern, who is the Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. Frank's email is fmulhern@ecs.k12.ny.us. So that's FMULHERN@ecs.k12.ny.us. Once again, that's FMULHERN@ecs.k12.ny.us. That's Frank Mulhern's email address. He's the best person to contact here at the district if you have questions about the program and how it relates to Ellenville Central School District. But as you mentioned, if you want to just learn a bit more about the Go Beyond Greatness program itself and some of the previous successes and the history of the organization, then as you mentioned, go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all your social media.
Yes, wonderful. I'm very excited about this. We're going to have many students in the Ellenville community going beyond their greatness with their great personal brands. Really looking excited for 2018.
And was there anything else you wanted to add, Ashley, before we wrap up today's interview?
Sure. I just want to thank Ellenville School District, the school administrators, as well as the teachers and guidance counselors, and everyone that has come together to make the Build Your Brand program of existence here. It takes a lot of work, and I'm really excited to be a part of this community. Really looking forward to working with the students, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of Go Beyond Greatness and myself.
Awesome. Well,
thank you, Alan.
Ashley Knox, founder and director of Go Beyond Greatness. Thanks for joining us this morning on WELV Talk.
All right, and everyone listening, remember, go beyond your greatness.